Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. Welcome. I'm Benjie Messer. I'm the youth director. I'm Steve Cronin. This weekend is Phoenix Pride. We are having a Pride service today, celebrating and affirming everyone who identifies as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer. And our opening, and we've got some folks down at the parade right now. We'll be checking into them throughout the service. Our opening is the African American spiritual "There Is More Love" song. So, feel free to stand and sing with me. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more
Good morning. My name is Blake Rushing. My pronouns are she and her, and I am your worship associate today. Thank you. Join me as we recite our covenant, and Bobby and Tricia light our chalice. If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us.
Do you want to do a poem? Sorry,
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship. Thus do we covenant. Please be seated. Good morning again. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. You are welcome here, no matter who you are, and especially no matter who you love and how you identify. We are so glad that you're here to worship with us. Our minister, Reverend Christine Dance, is on our congregation's float in the Phoenix Pride Parade, which has just kicked off. Many of our members are there with her also, and we'll be checking on them later by video during the service. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. If you're new here, we are so glad you found us. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you're willing and able, would you please wave so that we may know if you're here with us for the first time? Everybody? Oh, hey, good to see everybody. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Blake. Such a pleasure to be leading worship with you today. I have just a few announcements about the UUCP community. Next Sunday, October 27th, we have our services are all a little different. Next Sunday, plan to be here a little longer. It should be fun. It'll last from 10:30 a.m. to noon. We'll worship for 45 minutes, and then we'll have 45 minutes to visit tables and meet the many groups and teams here at the congregation. It's a service about how to get involved. Following that service, at 1 p.m., there will be a memorial service here for Ruth Brownstein. Ruth was a member of UUCP who died in 2020, early in the pandemic, and we weren't able to have a memorial service here for her then. So her daughter and other beloveds will celebrate her next Sunday at 1 p.m. with music and poetry as she requested. And we will have real food available here from 12 to 1 for those who want to pull the whole morning. A few other announcements. Our civic engagement team is offering various activities during the next few weeks to help you get involved in the upcoming election. Today they invite you to pick up postcards and stamps at the back table. Hi, Brad. Hi, Sandy. Hi, John. And to write a brief message encouraging the recipient to vote on those postcards and to mail them by October 29th. Also, all of the children and youth that are here today are invited to gather together at noon. Our usual children's ministries classes aren't happening today because so many of our children and children's ministry staff and volunteers are at the parade. But we will have a meeting at noon for anyone who's still here. Listen for the bell that'll be rung in the Johnson room at coffee hour. Regular classes will resume next week. And finally, in response to some scams that target members of churches, please remember that Reverend Christine will never, ever ask you for money or for gift cards by text or by email. And I'm very sorry that that continues to happen, but it's not her. It has never been her. So let's take a deep breath. Notice where we are and prepare for worship.
Our opening words this morning are from the poem Still Queer in America by Becky Brooks. We were erased, and still we loved. We were shamed, and still we loved. We were expelled, and still we loved. We were laughed at, and still we loved. We were hunted, and still we loved. We were sacrificed, and still we loved. We were marketed, and still we loved. We were legislated, and still we loved. We were murdered, and still we loved. We were murdered, and still we loved. And now we'll go live to our UUCP delegation at the Phoenix Pride Parade.
Go!
Excited to be here for Pride. Hi, everyone. I'm the Reverend Christine Dance. I use she and her pronouns, and I get the joy to be the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. And I am proud to be your queer pastor. So, here at Phoenix Pride, we are number 134, which means we'll be going in, I don't know, 15 or so minutes. We've got a whole bunch of people here with signs of our values. We have giveaways. We have all kinds of fun stuff going on here. We love you all. We hope that you enjoy Pride there in the sanctuary. Mwah!
Each week we split our offering between this congregation and an organization that shares our values. This month our Share the Plate partner is the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. UUSC partners with organizations around the world to advance human rights and social justice. Among their many partnerships are two initiatives especially about pride. One, Queers Fit works to support LGBTQ+ people fleeing Ukraine because of the Russian invasion. The second, the Queer Detainee Empowerment Project, supports and organizes queer and gender nonconforming immigrant prisoners in U.S. detention centers. Please consider donating to benefit this wonderful, needed work. Ushers, thank you for your help to pass the plate. Every week, we also take a moment in our service to share major joys and sorrows with one another. Sharing them together can amplify the joys and lessen our burdens. For those here in the sanctuary, the joys and sorrows cards, thank you, are on the small table at the back of the sanctuary. I've already received a few for today. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share that with us, share with us what's on your heart, please type it into the chat along with your name. As we open this sacred time to share in community, let us open our hearts with a moment of stillness. We have a Joy shared with us online. I believe I'm pronouncing this name right. Allie has a joy. They've just received their last dose of chemo and rang the bell on Thursday. Absolutely. We definitely want to celebrate that. I'll give the online joys and sorrows just a moment in case there's any more. But I do have an in-person joy and sorrow with us today. I don't have a name written on this card.
Is that the one I just named?
Yes.
Pete Krillman.
Pete? Oh, thank you. Oh, that's okay. I apologize. We do have a joy from Pete today. Pete shares with us that he has a very successful Scottsdale Philharmonic concert last Sunday at La Casa de Cristo Lutheran Church. And we're able to...
Very close to settlement.
and very close to settlement, and through an unclaimed asset case in Florida. Thank you for sharing that with us. We're excited for those joys, Phil, Pete, I'm sorry, and we are glad to share that today. We also have a, let's see, that seems to be all of those on our online Zoom service as well. We honor all of our joys and sorrows, those named, and those in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Let's also remember as we end this time that our congregation includes not just those in this room, but those watching from home on Zoom and on YouTube, those at the parade, and many who are not with us today. Each of you are an important part of our community. We're all holding so much in our world and in our hearts. Let's spend a brief time of meditation and prayer. If your week has been busy, if you haven't had a minute to slow down, please take that minute now. Relax and settle into this present moment. This morning I want to share a meditation titled The Meditation on the Power of We by Alondra Williams. I invite you to follow along with me. Put your feet down because we're about to do embodiment. Close your eyes, breathe in, and breathe out. When you hear the word liberation, liberatory spirit, liberatory life, liberatory possibilities, what does that conjure in your soul? When you hear we are the liberating force, spirit, light, and love, what does that conjure in your spirit? When you hear that we have the power to transform this world around us, what does that mean in your bones? When you hear we are the people that we have been waiting for, we are, how does that make you feel in your blood? We are the light, we are the wisdom, we are the ancestors, we are those yet to come. How do we fully hold all of that in ourselves? Open your eyes. Look at the people around you, and I encourage you to go out and organize.
With our folks at the parade, and maybe this is like a magical thinking thing in their mind, but I would like to sing to them, to sort of, or at least sing and have the intention, to dedicate our singing to pride and to the parade. And it's a funny thing that we get to be here and seeing the footage from there, and sort of having one experience, well, two experiences that are connected. So, I'll put some lyrics up for How Could Anyone, and let's just sing with that in mind. Let's stay seated. How could anyone
Good morning. My name is Bobby Riles, and I go by she, her pronouns. I know I'm not a very familiar face to you all, and that's because my partner Trish and I just started coming to this church over the summer. So I'm happy to be here and give you my little talk this morning. On this day that we celebrate Pride, I'd like to tell you a little story about my friend Melissa. Melissa came from a small town in California, from a Mormon family, to live in her cousin's guest house across the street from us. We met Melissa when she first arrived. She was a 19-year-old woman with a long ponytail. But as the months went by and we saw Melissa coming and going, her hair was getting incrementally shorter and shorter. She started driving a motorcycle and dressing very androgynously. One day I saw Melissa across the street, and I looked at my partner Tricia and said, "Oh my God, Tricia, Mel is coming out." Not that we buy into stereotypes, but actually I was right. Mel was coming out, and that's what she wanted to be called now. It wasn't long until she discovered that we were a lesbian couple, and she began to gravitate towards us. Before long, Mel was hanging out at our house on the weekends, doing homework from our couch, teaching us new things, asking us questions. But really, what Mel really wanted was community with people like her. One day, Mel asked me about my coming out story, and I was really surprised at how much emotion I still have some 45 years later. I looked at her, and I began to tell her that at her age, I couldn't come out. I was going to college, and I get emotional telling my story, so I apologize for that. I couldn't come out. I was going to college, I still lived at home, and we were immersed in our fundamentalist, evangelical Southern Baptist church. Our lives literally revolved around it. So as I started to figure out my sexuality, I knew for my own sanity and self-preservation that I needed to get a job and get out on my own. I did, and luckily I found a couple of closeted comrades within my church, my friend Scott and my friend Jan. But once moving out, it wasn't long until Jan and I were in a relationship and we got an apartment together. Because after all, you know the joke, right? What does a lesbian take on the second date? Come on. Yes! It was 1982, and Jan and I were now going to the Metropolitan Community Church along with our friend Scott. The Metropolitan Community Church was surprisingly like our Southern Baptist Church, similarly conservative, fundamentalist, and evangelical, with one caveat. And I have to laugh when I say that we were a church made up of gay people, fundamentalist, evangelical gay people. And as an example of what I mean, we would meet at the church on Friday nights, split into groups, and take religious tracts to the gay bars. No kidding. And I'm still a little embarrassed that I ever did that. But it was through that church that we developed community, the same kind of community that Mel was craving to have with me and Tricia. And yet still, none of the three of us could come out. Not me, not Jan, not Scott, beyond our small group of gay friends. Mel looked at me and said, "Why, Bobby?" And I told her that I figured my parents, who I was very close to, would disown me, that my straight friends who talk smack about gay people would surely dump me. And I told her I thought there was a strong chance I would lose my job, which I needed for survival's sake. Mel was flabbergasted. She couldn't even conceive of a time like this. Then I went on to tell her about a night that I came home from work to find Jan and Scott on the steps that led to our apartment. They were both visibly upset, and when I approached, they handed me a magazine that had a cover title that read something like AIDS, the rare cancer killing homosexuals. My heart sank. It wasn't long after that night that Scott died of AIDS. And a quarter of our Metropolitan Community Church were sick and dying. There was death all around me. It was a heavy time for me at 22. Not only that, there were headlines that read things like, AIDS, God's wrath upon homosexuals, with a big question mark. And then me, like, actually questioning if it was, in fact, God's wrath. Mel looked at me astonished and said, "You know, Bobby, I've heard about AIDS, but I had no idea it was an epidemic and that so many people had died. And I think it's so scared that you felt so sad. I think it's so sad that you felt so scared to come out." Mel had no idea at all. And I looked at her and I said, "Mel, come on, learn your history. It's so important. You are standing on my shoulders." Fast forward a month or so, and Trish and I were looking for a documentary to watch one Saturday night, like we love to do, and we came across a really good one, The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson. Now, I would wager that very few, if any of you, have ever even heard of Marsha P. Johnson. How many? Oh, that's because you're UUs. Yeah, I got it. But I hadn't, and I'm a queer person. So to tell you who Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera are, is they were transvestite sex workers in New York City. And I use the word transvestite here because that's how they referred to themselves back then. They worked the streets near the gay bars in Greenwich Village, and one fateful night in June of 1969, the night that police raided the Stonewall Inn, a mob-owned gay club, Marsha had had enough of the police brutality against the gay and trans community. Marsha, her friend Sylvia, and a group of drag queens led riots against police that night in the streets, and for 6 more days straight. And this was the birth of the gay power movement, what we're celebrating today, Pride. That's what we call it today, is Pride. And as I watched this movie, I thought to myself, oh my God, Bobby, learn your history. It's so important. You are standing on the shoulders of Marsha P. Johnson so that Mel can stand on yours. We would not have Pride today if it weren't for Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. And this is the part I love the most. Unlikely heroes. Drag queen, sex workers, homeless. And we owe them a debt of gratitude today for leading the charge that gave me and Mel the rights that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Bobby. And next, we're going to have a video testimony from Karen Schultz.
Hi, my name is Karen Schultz, and my pronouns are she and her. Coming out wasn't a single moment for me. It was a journey of self-acceptance. Growing up, I felt the weight of expectations about who I should be, while knowing deep down I was different. For years, I wrestled with that truth, afraid of how it would change my life. But eventually I realized living in fear and silence was harder than facing the world as my true self. When I came out, I was terrified of how my family and friends would react. There were sleepless nights and constant rehearsals in my mind. But once I said the words, "This is who I am," it was as if a huge weight lifted off me. While some people accepted it right away, others took some time. Through it all, I learned the power of being honest with myself, and that's when everything started to shift. Through this experience, I learned so much about myself and the people in my life. I've learned that what it means to be brave, even when you're terrified. I've learned that true authenticity is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, even if it comes with a risk. Harvey Milk, one of the greatest advocates for LGBTQ+ rights, said, "Hope will never be silent." He understood the power of coming out, not just for ourselves, but for others who still live in fear. By being visible, we can show the world we exist and deserve love and respect. Milk believed that when people see us for who we are, those old myths and prejudices can finally crumble. That's why Pride is so important. It's not just a celebration. It's a recognition of the fight for equality, and it honors those who came before us. Pride is about standing up and saying, "I am here, I'm proud." For me, attending Pride events is just a reminder of the power of community and visibility. It's a place where we can be our authentic selves. When I think about Pride, I think about generations before me, people like Harvey Milk, who didn't have the freedom or safety to live openly. They faced so much discrimination, hatred, and even violence just for being who they were. And yet they fought for visibility, for rights, for the ability to exist without shame. Milk believed in the power of visibility. He said, quote, "Every gay person must come out. Once they realize that we are indeed their children, that we are indeed everywhere, every myth, every lie, every innuendo will be destroyed once and for all," end quote. For me, that's why Pride is so important. It's a celebration of visibility, of being seen, and of rejecting the shame that once kept us in the shadows. Every time we come out, every time we show up to Pride, we are dismantling the myths, the lies that have held our community back for so long. For me, Pride is also deeply personal. It's a reminder I no longer live in fear. I no longer have to hide or compromise who I am. Pride is about being unapologetic, about loving myself fully. It's about walking through the world with my head held high, knowing that I deserve to take up space just as I am. When I attend Pride events, I feel a sense of belonging that I don't always experience in other parts of my life. It's a space where people can be their true selves without judgment, where we can share in each other's joy, strength, and resilience. Pride reminds me that I'm a part of something bigger, a global community that fights for equality, dignity, and love. Pride is also a call to action. It's a reminder that there are so many people in the world who aren't able to come out, who face fear, discrimination, or violence every day. It reminds me of my responsibility to advocate for those who can't yet stand up for themselves, whether it's through voting, activism, or simply supporting someone through their own journey. Pride calls on us to continue the work that was started long before we were here. To anyone struggling with their identity, take your time, know that you're not alone, and that journey to living openly and authentically is worth every moment. Pride is for all of us. It is for the ones who came before us, the ones here now, and the ones who will come after. It's a celebration of who we are, and a reminder that we are enough. As Harvey Milk said, all young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. Pride is a reminder of that promise, and it's a commitment to keep fighting until we're all free to live authentically and safely. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen. All right. So Karen was quoting Harvey Milk there a lot, beautifully. And this next song has an important role in Pride. It was written by Holly Near after Harvey's assassination. To keep people on the streets peaceful instead of violent, strategically peaceful as people took to the streets. So let's check in with the parade again. Let's send our intentions to them again through singing. And this is probably our last chance to stand up in the service. So if you'd like to stand while we sing, let's do that. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Let's all just hum to them now. Thank you all. Please be seated. And we have 2 more reflections for you today. First is a video testimony from Jan Kaplan.
My name is Jan Kaplan. I've been in a committed relationship with Helen Walker for 38 years, married for 11. We both use she, her pronouns. I've been thinking about words of late, how some words that we have owned and cherished have been co-opted by others and now feel tainted. You know what I mean. Patriotism, for example, freedom, Republican, and pro-life. What does that even mean? Does it mean you support universal health care and gun control and wearing masks during the pandemic? I don't know. It's just so confusing to me. But in celebration of Phoenix Pride Festival this month, I want to focus on the word marriage. For far too long, the word marriage was owned by most of you, and exclusively under the law to involve only a male and a female individual who wanted to form a legal union. One wonders why the realm of religion was able to co-opt this word rather than it being absorbed into our civil law as a contractual agreement between 2 people. I know that many of you never gave it much thought that when you got married in Ohio or Kansas or wherever, you were automatically considered married in whatever state you moved or traveled to. Your spousal rights in state number 1 automatically preserved your spousal rights in states numbers 2 through 50. But that was not true for others of us until 9 years ago. We did not have equal protection under the law. Unlike some of our friends, Helen and I had no desire to get married before it was truly legal throughout the land. But in November 2013, we were traveling to Minnesota, our home state, me for work and Helen to join me for a reunion with our old women's work group. They always griped when it was their turn to host us, as there's nothing to do in Rochester, Minnesota. But alas, on August 1st, 2013, Minnesota approved same-sex marriage. Our friends were ecstatic. I think less for us than for the fact that they now had something to do. They could plan a wedding and a reception. Well, we had a great time. The county recorder even waived our 1-week waiting period after applying for a license. I guess they figured that after 27 years of commitment, this was not exactly a shotgun wedding. We had a raucous bridesmaids party the night before. And the morning of, as we were struggling to get our rings off so we could put them on again, rings we had worn for 27 years, we both announced we were nervous and just wanted to get it over with. Our friends were just delighted, saying that we were typical nervous brides. And then there was the moment that Reverend Carroll pronounced us spouses. And it was an amazing moment, amazing in its contradiction. In the moment, I felt grown up. It felt important. It felt different. It felt like a statement to the universe. And here I thought we'd already made that statement on our own, without the need for the state to endorse us as humans who are free to choose who we love. I can't believe how glorious this feels. How could anyone deny us this simple act? How could anyone think that this is something that hurts them? And in the same moment, I felt, oh my gosh, this is nothing. I am the same person as I was a second ago. We are the same good people who care about each other and our friends, who vote in every election, who take care of our house, who put the garbage out on Thursday, and who spend far too much time working. We are the same as we were a second ago, before we were married. This is so nothing. Why is this even any kind of a threat to anyone else? And then it was over, and we flew back to Arizona. We got off the plane, and we're no longer married. And it is a longer story about what happened at work. You should know that it made me cry in anger and frustration. But you know, we had our reception at UUCP. We had wedding cake and Prosecco, and we stood up here among you, and you applauded, and we just cried. That is beloved community. Same-sex marriage became legal in the United States on June 26, 2015, with the Supreme Court's landmark 5-4 decision in Obergefell versus Hodges, only 5-4. I remember being in New Mexico with my sister at the time, and I heard the news. I called Helen. I asked if we needed to go downtown to the courthouse to get married again, or just didn't know if in that moment we were truly married everywhere. So why is this important? Why are we talking about this? After the Supreme Court revoked the constitutional right to abortion in 2022 with the Dodd decision, Justice Clarence Thomas argued in a concurring opinion that the Supreme Court should reconsider its past rulings, including same-sex relationships and same-sex marriage. There are just so many issues that demand your attention, your support. Racial justice, gun control, environmental justice, housing affordability, LGBTQ plus equality. These issues all go together in support of a truly pro-life affirming, life-giving agenda. Listen to the words and tell people to mind their own damn business.
Well, this last reflection is going to be for me, and honestly, I don't know how I'm going to follow up after that. Thank you, Bobby, for leaving this. I'll just give myself applause, and that'll be good. No. When I came out in Savannah, Georgia, at the age of 28, I quickly found myself in a new and scary existence. Until that point, I had spent my entire life in a conservative faith that had become my career and entire life's focus. That faith would not accept my identity and even felt the need to physically distance themselves from me, or rather from this new me. The community that had formed around Savannah's Pride Festival quickly became my new community and home. This new community showed me an acceptance that I can never express the value of. Muffin, an elderly black trans woman who called me daughter from the first moment we met, helped show me my own value and helped me find the pride in my own identity. Her example of defiantly choosing joy at every turn still inspires me to do the same. Muffin helped open doors so that many more could walk into the loving light of community. Pride is a celebration of this community. It's our answer to a world that would offer us prohibition in place of our joyful celebration. Pride is unconditional respect and dignity for all in our communities. Pride is needed. It is a flamboyant, possibly even gaudy display of active rebellion. Pride is just another example of holy ground. Sacred glitter and blessed costumes are all part of the worship there. It's all to honor us, not individually, but collectively. Our participation is an active invitation for all seeking community, like a lost trans girl in Savannah, Georgia, being welcomed in by the beautiful woman they call Muffin.
Thank you, Blake. And, thanks to everyone who spoke in today's service. Yeah, let's applaud again just for everyone. I appreciate it so much. Our closing song is by the wonderful songwriter Chris Matthews, whose tour manager called me last week and said, can I play a show at the UU Congregation of Phoenix? And so Chris will be here next month on Sunday, November 10th. And of course, you're all invited. And she's a fabulous songwriter. And anyway, this is one of her lighter songs. It's not on any albums. I learned it off of YouTube. It's a call and response song called In This Rainbow. And it's call and response. So every time I sing In This Rainbow, you echo it back. So give it a try. In this rainbow. Okay, awesome. You're good. That's all you need, actually, for the whole song. But I did put the lyrics up, so if you learn the call as we go and want to sing that too, yeah, that's fine. So. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. We've got red, orange, yellow. We've got green and purple too. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. We got black and we got brown in this rainbow. We got black and we got brown in this rainbow. We lift each other up. We don't tear each other down. We've got black and we've got brown in this rainbow. We've got blue, pink, and white in this rainbow. We've got blue and pink and white in this rainbow. We're gonna side with love and fight. I'm gonna stand up for your rights. We've got blue and pink and white in this rainbow. Oh, I hope you feel the love in this rainbow. I hope you feel the love in this rainbow. If you're gay, straight, or bi, if you're a trans girl or guy, if you're none of the above, I hope you still feel the love. Oh, I hope you feel the love in this rainbow. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. We've got red, orange, yellow. We've got green and purple too. We've got black and we got brown. We've got white and pink and blue. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. There's a color just for you in this rainbow. There's a color just for you
Thank you, Benjie. After our service ends, please consider reaching out to someone new or that you may haven't seen in a while. Again, normal children's ministries classes aren't happening today, but there will be a gathering for all children together after the service, and regular classes will resume next week. Our Exploration Hour activities for adults start at noon and are listed on the screen behind me. Maybe. And please enjoy our coffee hour, which is in the Johnson room just across the patio. Our closing words this morning come from the blessing called the Rainbow Blessing by Cricket Hall. May the drag stage rise to meet you. May the world rise to accept and embrace you. May the rainbow of love enfold you. May your fluidity never be hindered. May your pronouns always be supported and your dead name forgotten. May those who invite you into your life remain loyal. May your chosen family lift you up and catch you when you need it. May you be able to catch others when they need it. May you remember sensitivity is not weakness, but instead a great strength welling up inside you. And until we meet again, may you remember that you are loved and you are divine. Thank you. Go in peace, go in love, and have a great day.
Bobby would kill me.
Well, if you want to throw it away, here's your chance.
No.
I'll say I didn't see what happened. No, I'm just kidding.